Months had passed since I walked away. No goodbye, no note, not even a final glance at the woman I once loved, the woman I had vowed to spend my life with. She had shattered me in ways I couldn't even comprehend. The day I uncovered her betrayal, I didn't argue, didn't ask for explanations. I simply left and never looked back. But now, standing before me, was the last person I ever expected to see again. She had come searching for me. I didn't want to see her. Not now. Not ever. Yet, there she was, pleading for forgiveness. But why? Was it love? Or was it just regret? Her betrayal wasn't the kind you catch in a dramatic, movie-like moment. I hadn't walked in on her with someone else. No, it was the little things. The subtle shifts I had ignored for far too long. The coldness in her touch. The late nights at work. The way she always kept her phone face down and on silent. And then came the night that changed everything. I had come home after a long day, exhausted and lost in my own thoughts. That's when I saw it, the message. A single text, but it hit me like a gut punch, knocking the air from my lungs. I didn't need to read it twice. The meaning was clear, undeniable. In an instant, my entire world crumbled. I didn't confront her. I didn't scream. I didn't demand an explanation. I just walked away. Because when someone betrays you like that, it's not about seeking understanding. It's about accepting that they made a choice. And it wasn't you. The days that followed were a blur. I shut myself off from everything and everyone. Friends reached out. Family told me I needed to go outside to breathe, to move on. But I couldn't. I felt hollow, suffocated by the weight of it all. The pain lingered, gnawing at me even when I tried to pretend otherwise. So I disappeared. I moved into a small apartment, far from the life I used to know, far from the memories of her. I buried myself in work, avoided places that reminded me of what I had lost, and kept to myself. But the nights, those were the hardest. The silence was unbearable. Every empty space in my new home felt like an echo of the emptiness inside me. There were moments, brief, fleeting moments, when I missed her, when I wondered if she was feeling the same ache I was. But then I would remind myself, she had made her choice. She had crossed a line, and there was no going back. Then, 6 months later, I received a message. Her name flashed across my screen, and for a second, I froze. A flood of emotions surged through me. Anger, confusion, disbelief. After all this time, after I had vanished without a word, why was she reaching out now? Guilt? Regret? I stared at the message, debating whether to respond. Part of me wanted to ignore it, to erase any trace of her existence from my life. But another part, the part one despised for still caring, needed to know. So I replied. We arranged to meet at a cafe we used to visit often. It was one of the few places that didn't feel tainted by memories of her. I arrived early, settling into a corner table, pretending to be calm. But inside, my mind raced. And then she walked in. It took everything in me not to get up and leave. She looked the same, yet different. Her hair was shorter, and there were shadows beneath her eyes, as if the months apart had aged her. When her gaze met mine, I saw it. Guilt, maybe even sorrow. She sat down, her fingers twisting nervously. "Thank you for meeting me," she murmured. I didn't respond. I just watched her. For months, I had imagined this moment, played out countless scenarios in my mind of what I would say if I ever saw her again. But now that she was in front of me, words failed me. The pain was still there, raw and unhealed. "I've missed you," she whispered. I know what I did was wrong, and I regret everything. I wanted to believe her. I wanted to believe that the woman sitting before me, the woman who now seemed so fragile and remorseful, was still the person I had once loved. But she wasn't, and she never would be again. I never meant for it to happen, she continued, her voice cracking. I thought I could handle it, that I could have both of you in my life. But when you left, when I lost you, I realized how much you meant to me. My heart pounded. This wasn't the apology I had imagined. It wasn't enough. Words wouldn't fix what she had broken. I needed more than regret. I needed the truth. "What is this?" I asked, my voice steady but cold. Is this about wanting me back? Or is this about realizing you lost your safety net? Her face fell, and in that moment, I saw it. The truth she had been trying to hide. It's not just that, she said quickly. I miss you. I miss what we had. I think about it every single day. I don't know how to fix what I broke. But I knew she didn't miss me. She missed the way I made her feel. She missed the security, the stability, the comfort I had provided. She missed the life she had with me. But that wasn't love. That was regret. And in that moment, everything became clear. She wasn't here because she couldn't live without me. She was here because her backup plan had failed, because her new life wasn't what she had imagined. And now, she wanted to see if I was still an option. I stood up, the weight of realization settling over me like a final, undeniable truth. I think you should go, I said. She didn't argue. She didn't beg. She just nodded, her expression a mixture of disappointment and regret. And then she walked away. I stayed behind, watching her go, feeling the heaviness of the moment sink in. But as I stepped out of the cafe and into the cold air, something unexpected washed over me. Peace. Forgiving her didn't mean forgetting. It didn't mean pretending that everything was okay. It meant accepting reality. Because the truth is, if she had truly loved me, she never would have risked losing me in the first place. So, if you're waiting for someone to realize what they lost, stop. And if they ever come back, just remember, they don't miss you. They miss the way you made them feel. And that's not love. That's regret.